Ni hao Taipei, I'm Nicholas. I'm from Los Angeles. I will be teaching cycle, core flow, dynamic core, and bar. Very excited. And my background, I actually started as a dancer from my teens all the way through college. I was in a performing arts program, and then I got my first dancing job with a company in Chicago. From there, I went to Tokyo and worked for Cirque du Soleil, and then found myself in LA. Throughout that time, I had been taking yoga just to stay healthy, stay fit. And then when I moved to LA, I started to do yoga and then fell in love with cycle. 2012, I started to teach to try to see if I liked teaching, and I loved teaching it. So I kept training, I kept working more and more in Los Angeles. And then I met Shay and Barry, and we worked together. And then Shay asked, would you like to go teach in Beijing? And I said, sure, why not? Let's try it. So I had many meetings and talk, and then I ended up in Beijing. And then from there, asked if I could, if I would be willing to move to Taipei. And I said, of course, why not? So here I am now working with you guys. So I do feel a lot of my training within dance has actually helped me as an instructor. For many years as a dancer, we don't have a voice, we never talk. And so that was one thing that I had to learn. And one company that really helped me with that was working for Cirque du Soleil. I was in a show called Zed in Tokyo. It was a permanent show there. It's no longer open anymore. But the main character's name is Zed, and I was one of the Zeds. So the Zed helps move the story along. So it starts as he falls out of the sky into this land, and from there he goes on to all these different creatures, which of course were jugglers, acrobats, contortionists, high wire, trapeze, and he goes through all of this story. He's also mic'd, and so that was the first time in my performing career that I had ever really had to use my voice, and it was very scary at first because I've always just had to use my body to express myself, and it was great practice for me to get comfortable with that because I would be in a theater with 2,000 people watching, and so it was quite a lot. It was very scary at first. And then also I had another role where I was just dancer, so not mic, but just moving, dancing kind of around on the stage. And it's been something that I've been able to use with my teaching, with my voice, trying to change. One of my friends took my class recently and said that I change my voice when I teach, which I know I do. And I think it's just part of, not a character, but something that I do to change my teaching. It's different from Nicholas, the person just every day, to Nicholas, the instructor, the teacher, the coach, trying to help encourage in every way that I can. For classes, well, one is always with music, of course with SpaceCycle, incorporating the music, which is so important, and depending on what I'm teaching, like with yoga, I really like to teach to music that is more indie, alternative, maybe stuff not with such a strong beat that I would use for bar or cycle. So it's stuff that maybe is not as familiar, but that's one of my favorite things to do, to teach for yoga, and that's how I kind of apply that. And then with cycle, it kind of varies, or bar, depending on what I need. And then also just preparation, I like to practice. So if I'm teaching bar, I have to practice my bar sequence, or if I'm going into yoga, I like to breathe and do my own practice and then go in and teach yoga. So it helps kind of prepare me for that. In college, I did ballet choreography, like balancing and stuff like that, which was great. So difficult, but so good, yeah. So when people say it's like, oh, this is so hard, cycle so hard, I was like, try doing balancing, that's hard. But I do love all kinds of music. I'm influenced by so much, and of course, recent, I've been getting more into, I love just music from the 60s and 70s, just all genres of music I try to really listen to, and I'm being encouraged by so much, because I think all the good music, like all the genres and styles, always like repeat themselves, and they always come back in, and artists now, I think, twist them in different ways, but it's stuff that's already been done, but being recycled, so I love to hear when stuff is reused. My favorite band of all time that I wish, but I'll never get to go to concert, is the Beatles. And I rarely use their music in class. Every now and then I use some, but I absolutely love them. And actually, Cirque du Soleil has a show called Love, which is the Beatles show. And that's the show I remember I went to Vegas for my 21st birthday, and I saw the show, and I said, I have to work for this company. And that was the show that inspired me to then want to work for Cirque. But them, I love the Beatles. I love I mean, current stuff, I mean, I love Gaga. She's my favorite. I've seen her a couple of times. She has a new movie coming out, so I'm very excited to see A Star is Born. And then also other artists, like I love the Yeah-Yeah-Yeahs, who's the other one? So many like Phantogram, very indie rock bands that I love. And of course like Beyonce and all of the big, divas. We did Diva Dance Party. It was like Tina Turner, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey, all of those always. But I like a mix, and like I love to throw in different, especially in my class, SpaceCycle, like I'll throw in like Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson, and I love like all of that. So I like to do a big mix of music with hip hop and pop and a little bit of EDM, dance music, and rock, because I think it's just fun to have a mixture of different music and be influenced by different, because they all can kind of coexist so well together and make a good experience. My first impression, it was a great one. I always feel like I can get a first impression of the city by the airport, and so first off, it was very quiet and clean, which I loved. So I was very happy. It was so to see that, and then just driving through the city, I love that. To get to Taipei, like from the airport, you were going through the hills, through the kind of like the mountains, and that very much reminded me of LA, because I miss being around like hills and mountains. I love when there are mountains around that are taller than buildings. I love to see higher grounds, because being raised in the desert, I was raised right next to a huge mountain. So I love to see that. And then also driving through the streets, it just it felt very just alive, and just so many cute little streets, and just cafes and restaurants and shops. And that for me I love so much, because it made me excited to want to explore and see so much more of it, or hoping that I can bring something new. So when you see me around, say hi, and hopefully I'll see you soon.